The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast.
Is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. Hosted by three BFFs, Daddy Diwali, Chipotlebear, and Bubble Boy and Seven.
And new intern, X-Bacon Gaming.
This is Cortana. And remember, don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it. As always, Spartans, see you online.
Oh, hello. Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to the Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. Before we get started, we are live right now for the first time ever in the history of the show. We are streaming on Chipotlebear's channel because we could not figure out how to get it onto our Twitch channel, but next week hopefully we're gonna have it up and running on YouTube. So very exciting times. Joining us as always is the assistant to the co-host, Chipotlebear. You kind of figured it out. How are you?
I am doing great, man. It was a great week at work this week, and it was our show week for our spring musical, which was Chicago, which was absolutely incredible. It's actually where Bacon's wife is at this evening. I'm sure he'll talk about that. But man, it was a great week, and excited to get this finally up and running. I know we have a couple of kinks here and there, so if you have feedback, if you know we could do things better, please let us know along the way. And welcome. Happy to be here, man.
And speaking of Bacon, before I turn it over to you, I want to give a huge shout out to Claire DeSquare. She also was helping out Manfredi over there with the production, right, Jose? So
yeah, I saw her last night. It was great to see her, man.
Yeah, shout out. I like the pictures, of course. So shout out to Claire DeSquare Fowney over there at BCHS. And joining us as always is the intern to the assistant to the co-hosts, X-Bacon Gaming. He's a PC nerd, you guys, but he couldn't figure this out. So we've got Chipotlebear to do it for us. Go ahead, Bacon.
Oh, we've all seen Chipotlebear's production value is way better than mine with his Callisto Protocol review. So long day.
Before we gotta clear this up. Is it Callisto or Callisto?
I say Callisto. I say
Thank
Callisto.
you. Okay,
but it could be either. I don't know.
I've heard Joseph say Callisto too. I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, go ahead, Bacon.
Anyways, long week of work. Had a trainee today who tried to steal all the tips, and I almost had to fail him for the day, but I passed him and moved him on. So yes, he's trying to be dirty on me. Not okay with that, but let's talk video games.
Let's get into it, guys. But before we jump into video games, we've got a bunch of huge TNC shoutouts, Jose. We didn't hear it. But anyway, the new shoutouts, we've got new subs on YouTube. Shout out to Hector. The guy's name on YouTube is Hector. Great name on YouTube for following us. He was the first. And shout out to Sean Harrington as well for following us on YouTube. Also, by the way, we had another comment on my Halo Fracture Entrenched Tanker Jacket. Make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you go check out X-Bacon Gaming's review of Hi-Fi Rush and also Jose's review for the Callisto Protocol. Callisto. Yeah. I just want to shout out the guys for getting those reviews out. I have one coming out next week as well. So very exciting times here at the Nerd Chat. So I wanted to shout out at 99 Chris J. He wrote on my Halo Fracture Entrenched Tanker Jacket unboxing. He said, haha, mine came in today too. OMG, it took forever. I got the correct size.
Perfect.
XL. There we go. It's a little snug, but that's okay. I'll work out. LOL. Very cool box. Love having my gamer tag. It's awesome. So huge shout out to 99 Chris J. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for writing on our page. Make sure you guys go check out our channel. We're almost up to 100 subscribers. We're almost to 90. We're going to have more content, hopefully weekly as time goes on. So I just wanted to shout out those people. Gentlemen, let's jump into some Xbox news for the week, Jose.
News team, assemble!
Perfect. Oh, news item number one. The saga just doesn't seem to end. I have to shout out. There was a great interview over on what channel? What was that? The Xbox On channel? Is that the correct name? Yes. So
Yeah.
Xbox On. So this was exclusive. Phil Spencer talks Call of Duty, Activision Blizzard, and Xbox, and this was on the 28th of February. Hear from Phil Spencer everything you need to look forward to from Xbox, including the best games in 2023, what the process to acquire Activision Blizzard means to players and the gaming industry. So shout out to Xbox On. I thought it was actually a really great interview. I don't know if you guys got to watch it, but if not, definitely check that channel out and watch the interview with Phil. And tying into that, this is an article kind of pulled things out from that interview. Like I said, it's like 20 minutes. It's worth your time to listen to it. Phil's always great to listen to, I gotta say. Microsoft owning Call of Duty means end of its console exclusive DLC, Xbox says. That's not the game we are trying to play. Call of Duty will no longer feature console exclusive DLC content if it is owned by Microsoft, said Phil Spencer. Speaking to Xbox On, Spencer said future versions of Activision shooter franchise would simply aim to be the best version of Call of Duty on any platform, without offering extra skins or guns to Xbox players. And of course, all of this is contingent on Microsoft closing its $68.7 billion deal to acquire Activision Blizzard King. I know that, so continuing on, Phil Spencer said, I know that this is part of the industry, Spencer said, discussing console exclusive content. That's not the game we're trying to play here either. It's not about a skin on a gun. It's not about a certain kind of mode in the game. The same version of the game will be available on all platforms, which is really what we do today. Like if you're a Minecraft player on PlayStation, I don't think you feel like you have the lesser version of Minecraft or Minecraft Dungeons or Legends, which is coming out when it ships. We want to make sure those players feel like they have a great experience on the platform that they choose to play on. So tying into that as well, Bacon, there's been more developments with the Activision Blizzard King acquisition. Did you want to share that? I thought the EU article or rumors that just broke today, I believe. Do you want to share that now, Bacon?
This was breaking yesterday that Reuters and I believe another agency is reporting that sources close to the EU are reporting that they are more than likely to approve this deal and approve it without structural remedies, meaning selling off Call of Duty, selling off half the devs, selling off Diablo, selling off something to not be a giant. And it's believed that the concessions made prior to the meeting in Brussels last month when we signed the deal with Nintendo, which was very smart, and the deal with NVIDIA basically relieved most of their concerns. It's also looking fairly good for the CMA as well. I think once one of these falls or goes through and approves it, that basically opens up the floodgates. Also, the FTC, another commissioner, has resigned from the FTC. So apparently it's quite a ghost ship there, and claiming that it's Alina Khan and some of her issues. So it's looking more and more like it's definitely going to happen. Again, we can never work in absolutes in this business or in mergers in any way. But it is nice to finally see some movement. The date has been set back to the 25th of next month for the EU to make their final decision, but it says up to the 25th. That means it could be tomorrow, or not a working holiday week or a working weekend, but I doubt it. Right
Before then.
Yes. So I think, you'd have to think the Sony's going to have to bend the knee and sign on the dotted line eventually, because not that Microsoft would do it, but if they don't agree to the terms of this and it's approved, what says that they have to, even give Sony Call of Duty. So, and I believe with the lawyers and the subpoenas and stuff that the judge ruled on earlier this week, stating that Sony does have to provide any exclusive third-party contract deals from 2019 to today. I'm pretty sure there's probably some dirty laundry in there that Sony doesn't want in the public. So I'm assuming the FTC case will go away soon as well.
Jose, do you think we are finally coming to an end here? Is the end possibly in sight with the Xbox Activision Blizzard King acquisition, or do you think these are signs pointing towards a successful acquisition?
I think so. I think we are definitely getting closer. I mean, do I have an end date in mind? No. I mean, I know the April date, 26th, is hopefully. I would love it even sooner than that, but I think Bacon hit everything on the head that, like, we knew this. Sorry, we didn't know, but we assumed this whole time that this was not a deal. This was not really about them canceling this deal. This was really about concessions, and this was really about a legal battle, right? That was what it was going to be from the very start. And like we've said many times, in politics and in legal world, there's not being nice. You don't be courteous for the sake of being courteous. Like, you get every cent that you can. And whether you love or hate Jim Ryan right now, you do respect what he's been able to do in this big situation. Obviously, as an Xbox fan, like, I'm hoping in the end that it's still going to go through in the best way and with the least amount of restriction. I also really admire, and I don't know if we're going to go back to the Phil interview that you kind of started with, but I really liked that interview. I mean, I love every interview that he does, but
yeah, go ahead, share your thoughts on
when
that
they
as well,
when they
please.
got to the part talking about Activision Blizzard King, he really hit pretty heavily on the mobile. He said, he brought up Call of Duty as an example. He goes, we really don't have the infrastructure for mobile. And the truth is, while we love gaming on a console and we love it doing it in your living room, realistically, we don't know if that is the trend of the future. And we know that the mobile market is a huge market. And so that is really, really about why we are trying to acquire this company. Like, he brought up King specifically, which is so interesting because so much of the rhetoric that we've heard over the last months is really surrounding Call of Duty for good reason. It's a very popular game. It's what Sony seems to care about the most. But the reality of this deal is, yes, that's part of it, but that's only a small piece of it. You know what I'm saying? It's realistically, there's a lot of other moving parts here. So I am hopeful that we're near an ending, man. As much as I know it's been annoying to other people, I think it's been fascinating. But and shout out to Hoglaw on our friend podcast, Season Gaming, right? He's kind of started to come back and talk about this a little bit. I'm so excited to hear what he has to say because he's been talking about this as well. So overall, man, I think it's just a great time to finally be working through some of the challenges that we've had with this and to start seeing the light of this, right? Because as much as it is interesting, it just feels like things are spinning and spinning and spinning. And so it's nice to see that we're moving forward a little bit.
Bacon, any closing thoughts, or are we good to move on?
Yeah, with Phil talking about the exclusivity, when you think about it, that Sony's always had that exclusive game mode with Spec Ops that is exclusive for an entire year, and it releases the day the next Call of Duty comes out. So for us Xbox players who can't partake in that, we never get that mode, because why would we play the old version of Call of Duty when the new version's out? So Phil's going to do away with all of that, and I'm sure he will. We're not going to get anything more. The overall benefit for Xbox players and PC players is our ability to get these games into Game Pass. The ability for me to save $70. I
want to interrupt right there. We don't know that these games will ever be able to come to Game Pass, though. That might be. I'm just saying that could be one of the.
Well, it could be that, but also,
or if they have it in Game Pass, it has to be allowed in other streaming platforms.
Right. And they've already said they would allow Sony to do that, but Sony's not going to pay the $900 million to put it in their streaming service, because Sony wants to make those individual sales to get their 30%. So they will say, sure, you want to pay the bill, come on over. We'll put it in PS Plus all day long, but we all know they're not going to do that. Right. So just because that hasn't been announced outwardly saying, hey, we're offering it, you can't tell me they're not offering it to make this deal happen. Would they take $900 million from Sony every year? Yeah. So I'm sure it's been offered. And then, of course, the NVIDIA thing takes away the cloud streaming aspect of the monopoly and allows the other big player to do it. So they really dotted all their T's, or dotted all their I's, crossed all their T's. And I don't think they're leaving any stone unturned here. So I would more than bet that it's definitely going to be in Game Pass. So
do you think that they're still going to offer any number of years contract with Sony? Like, I still believe that they're going to try to They want to sell it on all platforms because that's where they're going to make the most
Yes.
money. That's how they get into the gamers. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. But do you think, in an act of good faith, they're going to offer a contract for a number of years? And if yes, how many years?
I said they stick with the same plan. Like
And-
why would they'll just look like the good guys. I mean, because they're like, yeah, we're going to stick to what we offered you before.
Right, and they don't ever want to be the bad guy for future acquisitions. Like if they're like, nope, they didn't.
Let's not
sign
get
contract,
crazy.
right? So, well,
If they
I'm
get
just
this,
saying.
they need to just be thankful. I mean, what else could you?
Oh, and
possibly
then
want?
one last thing I also found out is they've also offered to pay a third party in the UK to monitor this situation. Same thing they did with LinkedIn when they were acquiring LinkedIn. They were required to they paid an independent third party to monitor LinkedIn and monitor that they weren't doing anything erroneous or breaking any contracts. So this eliminates an issue that CMA is having if Microsoft is paying for someone to observe the overall scope and following the rules that have set forth. And so that's another thing that CMA is more than happy to accept millions of dollars from Microsoft to fund a wing of their party or whatever. So
yeah,
that's all I got.
All right, let's hope the next time we talk about this, it is the
But next
EU
Thursday?
approving,
next Monday.
approving the deal, and then the week after the CMA, and then the week after the FTC is dropping its suit, and the deal is going through. Moving on to the next topic, I do want to shout out Deja Vu _X Bacon Gaming. Shout out to Deja Vu for talking to us and watching us on the stream right now. I also have to say I'm a little confused that someone wrote thanks from the Nerd Chat podcast when I don't believe anyone's logged in.
I see what I'm saying. That's why
I have no idea how Jose wrote that
right now.
even though he's streaming through Chipotlebear's channel. He somehow hacked into my Nerd Chat podcast Twitch account. So who knows what's going on? Thank you. Live right now, Deja Vu just said you're welcome. Appreciate that. Deja Vu, how much are you going to sell that 4080 for? Do you think it will fit into my small case here? Because if you sell it to me for $600,
That's what she said.
we might have a deal.
I tried getting it for you today on a discount. He's pretty high on this thing.
It's okay. I'll stick with my high
end.
end.
Keep working.
I'll stick with my high end 1440p machine. And speaking of gaming on the PC, next door involves Elden Ring, and I just gotta shout myself out right here, you guys. I am the Elden Lord yet again. I completed Elden Ring for the 4th time. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements on Steam. My first 1,000 out of 1,000 for Steam achievements, probably my only at this point. I've completed the quadrilogy. 1,000 on Steam, 1,000 on Xbox, PS5 plat, PS4 plat. I am the Elden Lord for the game of a generation. And that game of a generation, Elden Ring, is getting DLC. And this came directly from the Elden Ring Twitter account on the 28th. Rise, Tarnished, and let us walk a new path together. An upcoming expansion for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is currently in development. We hope you look forward to new adventures in the lands between. Guys, how pumped are you that we are going to be able to go back and play Elden Ring for fun in a new world, even though I could go back and play the game again and over again. I need to catch up to Jay Bizzle's hours, but I don't think that's humanly possible. Jay Biz, I hope I'm making you proud with my Elden Ring obsession here. So Bacon, will you be getting well, obviously you will be, but where are you going to play, Bacon? That is the question. Are we going to jump into PC and do this, or are we going to be Xbox consoles, not Master Race players, and play on the old Xbox here for this DLC?
Well, I don't own it on Steam, so it would have to be on Xbox. I'm not a big fan of double dipping, even though I've almost double dipped for Eternal in the last couple of weeks. But
you have bought Elden Ring like 3 times, like I did.
I almost have bought it on PC. I'm really close. There's so much stuff to buy coming out that I don't want to double dip to that tone, but I will definitely play it because it was a fantastic game.
Jose, what about you? Does this get you excited, or are you like, I had my fun with Elden Ring? All right, Jose is muted.
Sorry, I thought I hit the button. I am very excited for the Elden Ring expansion. Here's where I'm torn. If I had to do it again, I would have preferred to go back and do a different build. And I am not going to go play a full game build. So that's my question.
Easy to do.
What do you mean?
You can easily change everything, Jose. You just use one of those little what are they called? The larval tiers or whatever. You go to the what's her name in the library, and then you'll get your new build, Jose.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good idea. I will do that. I mean, I do want to check it. I loved Elden Ring, man. I talked about it for a long time, and I am not a Souls guy. I am not the Elden Lord 4 times over like Dan or anything like that. But it's pretty rad, man. I'm glad to see they're going to keep doing it. It makes me curious, though. What is kind of the long-term plan for Elden Ring with FromSoft? Does this mean that they're going to do this for a while and kind of just like enjoy this glory, which I mean they have every right to, and I'm not upset about it by any means, or are they going to start working on what I presume would be like an Elden Ring 2 or both? I don't know.
Guaranteed there's going to be a huge you know how crazy that game was. There is a guaranteed Elden Ring 2.
I know, but are we talking? But I'm saying if they put all their effort and resources into these DLCs, does that mean we're talking like a 10-year plan, a 12-year plan, an 8-year plan?
I'll answer you right now. I think it's going to be one paced and sized DLC with this one. Well, big size, nice. Okay, thank you. And so I think it's going to be that, and then they'll take a break. Maybe they'll do, I don't know. Like after Armored Core, you think it's got to be Elden Ring 2, right? Like I just don't know how or why you wouldn't just immediately start working on the sequel to the game of a generation. Like how could you? I don't know how you could go back to Dark Souls. I know a lot of people would daunting like
too. That's the other, it's not that they don't want to do that. It's that when you just said a game of a generation, how do you make a sequel to that that's meaningful?
As far as I'm concerned, man, these guys, I've recently, like I've told you, played the first Dark Souls. I still need to get to Sekiro. Shout out to Cordy Morg, Sekiro, 1,000 out of 1,000. Can't believe he did that. That is amazing. Bloodborne, I still need to get to. There are rumors. Is there going to be a remastered, whatever? So let's say that's what comes out next. There's a remastered Bloodborne or remake or whatever you want to call it, but that's done by somebody else with guidance from FromSoft. I think you have to go to Elden Ring 2. This game was just too massive and monumental that they know they're gonna have to do it. And you're right, Jose. There will be these crazy expectations, but when have they not missed? Let's be real. Bacon. Any closing thoughts on the Elden Ring DLC?
I'd have to assume they'd come back to a second one, or do they go out like Seinfeld and go out on top and just?
You guys
call it
just
a day.
Like never do it again,
right?
Like walk off home run.
They did it after.
How do you
seasons.
match that? Okay, yeah, it's you got to imagine Blue Point would probably be working on that. Demon or not Dark Bloodborne
at this point,
but they haven't even given a 60 FPS patch to the PS5 for that
game,
so.
which makes me think that's why maybe
they're making they very well could
remaster
whatever it is.
And I wonder how many teams they have there, because you got to imagine Armored Core was well in work before Elden Ring was done. So maybe they have multiple teams
for sure
at FromSoft. So you got to figure it's got to be something, because those dudes, everything they touch turns to gold. So
it's fair.
I mean, J-Biz, I hope I'm making you proud, man. And I was so wrong. I remember I always was like, why was Bogus playing all these Dark Souls games? These demons.
Did you look at that art? That incredible art website I sent you?
Yeah, they're pretty great, man.
You should order some of that, bud.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the art in Elden Ring is absolutely phenomenal and some of the best in all of video games. Hence why it won so many art design awards, and ours as well. But I don't know. I think I'm lucky enough as it is to have this one nerdy poster in the basement. I don't think Allie would approve of the Erdtree out there. Anyway, guys, let's move into the next story, and this is also exciting as well. Season 3 Echoes Within for Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's Echoes Within arrives March 7th, and I watched the trailer on YouTube, get a glimpse of what's going on in Season 3, including a new 100-tier battle pass, 3 new maps, new mode, new weapon, new equipment, new cosmetics, and I believe they also they're going to be adding and swapping out the Forge playlist, which is also very exciting. We're going to get to see some of those creations. Jose, I know you're always down to drop into Halo. We
Always.
love Halo. I can't wait. I'm already going to buy that battle pass. Cannot wait to use the new Shroud screen or whatever that thing was called. Jose, what were your impressions from the launch trailer? I thought it looked pretty dang good.
I mean, I think it looked great, and I've heard and read a lot of people said that it's one of the most exciting and meaningful updates that we've seen in a long time. And that's not to say that like I personally haven't loved like the winter update and the little like Tenrai events and the fracture events. Like I love all of that stuff. Like you said, I'm always down to drop, even if we're in the middle of Battlefield or Modern Warfare. If there's a weekend where it's like the boys are getting on Halo, like that's always a fun time for me. I do admit that I like the new Shroud Shield. It makes me laugh because it's clearly like, is it Valorant or Apex? I forgot where that really they started. Like that's very clear. Valorant. They took that from that, but that's fine. I don't think it's a crime to borrow what people like and want. And I do admit, like as much as I think that the original shield, the drop shield, is a cool idea, I almost never use it because it's just I don't think it's that practical in an actual match. Where I think the Shroud Shield is different, and I think it does do that. I also, man, I cannot tell you how much I have loved all the Forge stuff. There is just so much incredible content. I just saw one today, I didn't put it in the notes, where someone recreated the original Bat Cave, like from the 1990s movie, and it looks so sick. Like that is makes me so excited that they're going to do that. It does still make me a little bit nervous and maybe scared about the future of what's going to happen with 343 and all this other kind of like the next thing, but that's a problem for tomorrow, Chipotlebear. For today, Chipotlebear, he's pretty happy with what's coming in season 3. I think I'm at like level 96 on my battle pass, so I need to finish that real quick. Not that I know that I can go back and change it and do it later, but just might as well start with that fresh slate. So I got a little bit of work to do before that hits. But other than that, man, I'm very, very excited.
Bacon, will you be dropping back in, or are you just still going to be with Deja Vu on Call of Duty for 69 more hours?
So here's an update from Mike and I on Call of Duty. We both hate it. We both actively
go to Ashika Island, man. You got to go the higher, fast pace, man.
Dude, it is such a bad experience right now. You literally cannot do anything in that game, and he is really good at that game, and he carries us. But it is downright awful. We went to Ashika after just getting smashed in the regular, and like we were all done within an hour. Like, no, we'll go play something else. But I will be jumping in. I do have 3 battle passes to finish in Halo. Unfortunately, I got some work to do. But the map I saw that interested me was that toy room one, that almost like a Toy Story looking one. Mm-hmm. Like that looks freaking dope. And I read also today that there's been over 1 million maps made in Forge by the community. That's more players than Returnal had. We've made maps in Forge, so that's pretty dope. So
no need to make digs at Returnal.
I love Returnal. Actually, Returnal is my favorite game of the PS5 generation so far.
All right. Hey, I do want to say on the maps though, these maps look really good. The big team one looks really impressive. It kind of reminds me of like Blood Gulch. The cliffhanger one, I like the aesthetics of that. The arena one, I'm trying to watch right now. I am very excited to see these new maps, and they're much needed. Chasm is the other one. There's always been the complaint is content. This, along with swapping out and maintaining those Forge maps, I really think Halo is going to return to being one of our normal Nerdfest nights. I just realized, Jose, when was the last time we played Battlefield, guys? We haven't played Battlefield.
I don't know, but I heard that new season's pretty good.
I was going to say, I hear there's a lot of good changes too, so maybe we got to check that out. But
that new gun looks good in Halo too.
The DMR like gun.
Yeah.
Maybe so shout out to Halo. Hopefully this will be the turn that 343 needs to bring people back to this game. I can't wait to play. You know how I feel about the overall gameplay and mechanics of Halo. I think Infinite's one of the best, if not the best, first-person shooters as far as feel goes. So shout out to Halo, guys. Let's move into the next story. These are kind of quick stories that are just kind of caught my eye this week. Acclaimed martial arts adventure Sifu is coming to Xbox and Steam this month. By the way, guys, I admit I missed this, and I randomly saw this on Eurogamer. So it's coming to Steam and Xbox on the 28th of March. I don't know if that's good because I believe, is that Resident Evil 4's launch or something, or around then, or right before or after? So I don't know. Bacon, did you have any interest in this game when it was on PS5? Because it looked fine to me. It never really grabbed me, so I don't know if I'll be grabbing this. I know Bubble Boy almost was thinking about getting it a PS5 just to play this at one point, and I was like, well, I think it's only a year exclusive, so he has a PS5 now anyway, so we could play it wherever. But it is coming to Xbox. Did you have any interest in this, or does this excite you, or should we?
I've had my finger over the buy button on this game multiple times. It's like,
I hear it's tough.
Right, and it's very tough, and you can get an achievement for getting through it with only dying if you get through it before you're 25. Because every time you die, there adds years to your life. So before you know it, you're a 75-year-old man dying. So I actually think it sounds incredibly cool, and I love Kung Fu and anything related to Kung Fu and fighting. So John Wick without a gun, I'm super stoked for this game, and it'll probably take place of Resident Evil for me since I'm not a Resident Evil fan. So I'll probably most likely definitely be getting this in that time frame.
That was the wrong answer.
Get boot him out.
It's just not for me, guys. I'm not
No,
saying
I know. I hear you. No, I know you don't like it's all good. Jose, did Sifu interest you, or are you gonna be like me and just be like, that's great, but I'm gonna be on Resident Evil 4?
I mean, I am with Dan on this one, that I will absolutely be on a Resident Evil 4, but I'm not upset about Sifu. I heard really cool things, and when I first was hearing about it, actually on with Joe and Kyle on the PlayStation, or I'm sorry, in the trophy room, it was really rad, man. I mean, it sounded cool, like that I would check it out. Now, granted, I am not the kind of guy that loves to just like punish myself in games. So like, if I was like 75 years old in that game, when my first hour, I'd be like, yep, this probably just isn't for me, and I'll go kind of watch what happens somewhere else. But I did huge applause to everyone that can do really well in it, and of course, I'll check it out because I think it's cool, man. I like that there's games everywhere. That's what I want for everyone.
Absolutely. Jose, you know what I just noticed in our stream is like the camera locations. It doesn't match what I'm seeing on here, but this is probably what you're seeing, huh? Am I up in the top left on your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacon's beneath?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just guys, we're learning as we go. Next story, guys, and I know this is exciting for I believe Jose is a big fan. Bring the ultimate bounty home. Retweet with hashtag the Mandalorian Xbox Sweepstakes for a chance to win a custom Xbox Series X and S. And the coolest thing about this little bundle, or these consoles, you guys, besides the aesthetics of them, because I actually do think they look pretty sweet, especially that Mando one.
Yeah,
Grogu, he's cool. Is the controller, the green matching Grogu controller, comes with that little outfit, that little jacket. I saw someone ask in the comments saying, please tell me that the jacket comes with it, and Xbox responded, indeed it does. And so I didn't tweet this out because obviously I'm never going to win, and there's like millions of already.
Well, not with that attitude, bud.
31.6 thousand people, and I think it ends May 11th, so there's still plenty of time to get this in. But I did want to shout this out. Huge fans of Mandalorian. By the way, did you guys watch Mando yet? Because I have not gotten.
I've not started because I want to watch it with the girls. They love it, so I just haven't had it. It's been work and stuff.
Follow-up question, Jose: can I start watching Mando with my children, or no? Or is it a little?
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Again, I am not the parent of the year.
I showed them Jurassic Park, you guys.
I did all of them, but Penelope loved the first one. Scarlett likes Grogu. She thinks he's cute. I don't think she understands what's going on in the story, but I mean, honestly, like, yeah, there's violence in this form of like guns and stuff like that, but it's not bloody. It's not like there's no real sex scenes. There's none of that stuff. So it's honestly great, man. And as much as I want them to be into the original trilogies and stuff like that, and that will come with time, that's just by their standards, it's not very interesting, right? So you got to find that jump in point where it's at. And this does seem to be a great one, man. And like, love Pedro Pascal, but not just in Last of Us, but also in this. So
you don't really see it much, but yeah, okay.
No, but I mean, but it's still, Mando is a very compelling character. I enjoy everything.
I love
about
it.
it.
Yeah,
I love all the Mandalorians. I love the
way.
Forge. Like, I'm very excited to watch season 3. We'll probably watch some of that this weekend because we don't have a lot of plans. So I haven't started yet, but will.
Quick follow-up. Who do you think is more interesting, the Jedi or the Mandalorians? Right now.
What do you mean by more interesting?
Just their culture and what you've learned so far. What has your interest more right now? It's got to be the Mandos, right?
Yeah, right now. But dude, I've been a fan of Jedis for like 30 years. But like I
know
something
them.
new, shiny thing over here.
Bacon, before I throw it over to you, I just do want to give a shout out to Xbox and their marketing. They always seem to have very cool of these limited edition consoles. They've always done a great job with this, as far as I'm concerned, with the hardware. definitely compared to PlayStation and Nintendo. You don't see as many of these, and if you do, I don't think they're as good quality. So Bacon, any thoughts on this? Are you would you actually display that, or would you just use the Xbox?
I would buy it and use the Series X because of love for Mando, and I'd display the Grogu one because he's just so dope. I really just wish they'd make them limited runs that we could buy the dang things, because they would sell like freaking hotcakes.
That's a good point. But
instead of having to enter a giveaway 1 in 10 trillion chance of getting
what
it.
if you guys, I remember there were rumors of a Mandalorian game. Maybe someday this could be in Xbox's future. They've always tended to be the first to jump on partnering with Star Wars kind of consoles and these exclusive hardware things. I don't know who's the marketing partner for Jedi, what is it, Survivor? Probably PlayStation. They buy all kinds of third-party partnerships, but I do believe last time it was Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. EA and Xbox tend to be close on those. So shout out to Xbox and the marketing team for that very cool console. And closing out the news for the week, I don't even know if I should talk about this, you guys. A new Games with Gold for March 2023. To all of you who are still downloading these games, this has got to be the worst. This has got to be the worst month yet, right, guys? Like these three games, I couldn't tell you anything about them. This was the first time I could think of where I have like no interest and couldn't tell you anything about them, or I'd never heard of them. We've got Trubenbrook, Sudden Strike 4, Lamentum. Trubentuk is explore charming 1960s German village of Trubenbrook, where not all is as it seems. Get trippy in the single-player sci-fi mystery adventure game. Sudden Strike 4, play the original World War II RTS classic and all previously released DLCs. Command forces from all sides, including the road to Dunkirk, across the snowy landscape in Finland, and across the rugged deserts of Africa, or the battles in the Pacific. Okay, so an RTS World War II game, somewhat interesting. And Lamentum, delve deep into the nightmare-fueled madness. How far would you go to save the one you love? For young aristocrat Victor Hartwell, the cost to save his ailing wife might be unthinkable. Explore the mystery and encounter horrific creatures. Who will you choose to trust to survive? I mean, that's kind of interesting. And of all of them, that game
description.
Yeah, that's a great description. I actually I'm going to click on this in the game store. Got any reactions to this, guys? Or are we done with the news? Bacon, go ahead. You got the look of disgust. By the way, I clicked on the link for that game. It doesn't even work. So great job. Great job, Microsoft. And
can this money be spent better elsewhere? Donate the money to a charity. Help starving kids in Africa, because Games with Gold is just, it's almost a running joke at this point. I claimed 3 or 4 bangers last month on PS Plus, and then we get this. It's just move on.
Lamentum looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like this actually looks interesting. This kind of looks like a SNES style, almost kind of like a more dark Zelda type action game. So maybe I'll be downloading one here, guys.
You've been all about those like little 32-bit ones.
So go ahead, Jose. What do you think of Games of Gold? What are they doing at this point? Like, it's like, I get it, like offer something, but at the same time, is this doing more damage than a positive at this point? You know,
I mean, I guess here's what I'd say. Typically, I'm of the mind that, like, look, man, this doesn't hurt me, right? That
Yeah,
I'm like,
true. True.
It doesn't hurt me that they're putting out games. Just because I don't necessarily want to play them isn't bad for me. I think the thing that has started to worry me a tiny bit is that, one, kind of like you just hinted at, Dan, that like culturally, I don't know if it's a great look that like we just keep putting out games that are crappy
compared to PlayStation Plus's offerings.
For now, you know, when this started, Games with Gold was putting out a lot of bangers too. That's kind of transitioned over to Game Pass. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison, because it's still brand new, right? They have to really sell that service right now, where Games with Gold, they don't really have to worry about, because Game Pass is really what they want. They don't want to focus on games with gold. I think my only other concern, though, is that clearly resources are going to this, both monetary resources and time resources. And I don't know which studio, if there is one that's working on this or who's making the deals, but I guess my question is like, what could be done maybe better with that time and money, whether that's acquisition or something else. But at the end of the day, that's not like, again, that's not a huge deal. It's just more, I guess it's great fodder for our podcast every week or every month that we're like, what is it this time? And it's like, oh my God, that game's not even real. They literally just made that one up.
I gotta bite my tongue right here and go and backtrack a little bit. I looked at the trailer for Lamentum. I'm gonna download this, you guys. It looks pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. It does look exactly like a little bit of a spooky horror-esque Zelda type from the Super Nintendo days. So I am gonna get this, but I do want to say this. I think this is one place where PlayStation is doing it better than Xbox. They are doing a better job giving you those base free games than with your base PS, whatever it is, PlayStation Plus Essential, I believe is the first layer, right? Bacon, that's what I have. So they give you pretty good games value-wise to download for free. You don't get access to all the other streaming games like on Game Pass, but what they give you for your PlayStation Plus membership is pretty dang solid. Although the counter argument you could say is a lot of the games that they're getting are on Game Pass. So Xbox is just going a different route. They just want you to be on Game Pass, whereas PlayStation Plus is offering you pretty dang good value at that beginning level of PS Plus, but not quite as good with the next tier up, which who knows what it is. I don't even know what the second stupid level is. But then Game Pass gives you those a lot of day and date third-party games in addition to most importantly their first party. So Bacon, I do think that Xbox maybe needs to take a page of what PlayStation has taken from Xbox originally, and like we've always argued is have games with gold change into Game Pass Basic, whatever we were going to say, Game Pass Gold. You can even call it that, where you just get access to all first-party games, right? No longer getting any more free games or whatever they add. And then the next tier gives you everything else. So I don't know. What do you think? I do think that Xbox can learn from this. You're muted, Bacon.
The list of everything I've claimed in the last 2 months off PS Plus: Resident Evil Biohazard, Mafia Definitive Edition, Evil Dead, Horizon Forbidden West, The Quarry, Borderlands 3, and Devil May Cry 5. I've claimed all of those.
Pretty good.
From
That's pretty good, man.
It is very good. So I don't know if Horizon was in there or if it was in there.
Horizon just entered. That just entered because it was a year after it came out.
So, and those are all available, claimed in my account to play. So it's substantially better, but I get more value out of Game Pass than I get out of this. So there's two different approaches there, but you got to admit, Sony is knocking us sideways with what they're giving away free for their $60 a year service. So I say you just pull the plug on games with gold and just put that money into funding the CMA guy who's going to monitor. I don't know.
He's absolutely right.
Probably good for kids and people who aren't as privileged as we are and have the kind of money we have to put into our gaming habit. So it's probably good and used by a lot of people. It just doesn't fit us or our needs. So I guess I should just leave it alone and let people I'm sure a lot of people do claim these games and a lot of people do play them. So I guess
I'd be interested to see those numbers.
Horse. Right.
Actually,
I should just get off my soapbox or my high horse and let people enjoy gaming.
That's fair.
It must be working because they're still doing it. They're still giving these games. So.
All right, guys, that has been the news for the week. Unless you guys have any other topics you would like to discuss, otherwise, let's jump into. Actually, we're going to jump into what have we been playing. But Bacon, can you and I maybe talk a little bit about Wolong Fallen Dynasty? Jose, have you played that at all or no?
So I absolutely want to play it. I have not yet because I'm so close on Hogwarts Legacy, and I know that if I defer away from it, I'm not going to go back. So I want to finish that story. But I know it got released last night, and I saw that you've already played it. You're tweeting about it today. I was not really high on it when it came out. I thought it always looked beautiful, but the more I've seen and kind of the story, And again, I think missing a little bit of Elden Ring, a little bit of that like Souls combat. I am going to check it out for sure, man. So as soon as I finish Hogwarts Legacy, I will.
Yeah, it will definitely scratch that itch.
I don't. Here's the thing, Jose. It's not like Elden Ring how it plays at all. I would say, Bacon. I'm sorry. I don't think it is at all. My initial impressions is this is more of an action, more like from what I've seen from Devil May Cry. I know that a lot of people say there's a lot of similarities to Sekiro, but unfortunately I haven't played Sekiro. And I don't even think I was actually texting with Cordy earlier today, and I want to get his thoughts on it, or what he wrote to me, because I thought they were really good. Because we both messaged each other earlier today, being like, "So what do you think of it so far?" And this is what Cordy said. He said, "I can't decide yet. Honestly, I want to like it. I'm not a fan of the controls, and the cutscenes so far that I've watched are not interesting. But the weird thing is, I will be playing tonight. I want to get more into my build and see how that goes." And I actually completely agree. Like I'm on the same page as Cody Marks. I want to like it, and there are interesting aspects to it, but it doesn't play like Elden Ring. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's a lot more fast paced slashing action. It's way more quick paced compared to Elden Ring, and you can block, and that's what I'm learning, Bacon. With that first boss, we should be blocking all of his attacks except for the red one. And like I didn't know that, so I just was trying to dodge everything. That's probably why I was having so much problems with him. You have to time your dodge, Jose, like at the exact moment. Like if you're off at all, you'll just kind of move, and it's not really helpful. When you do, what is it? It's a deflection, I think, Bacon. When you time that correctly, then they're like kind of like staggered really, and then you can attack them. And like I think I saw you right, that's when you hit them with the heavy attack. And that's where me and Bacon also don't like, is like you have to use X or Y to attack, or for light attack and heavy attack. And I just wish, why can't we, how is it in 2023 we can't just bind the controls to what we want? Like I don't see how that's so hard. Like why is that so hard? Just make limitations, like you have to have everything binded to a certain button, otherwise you may have, whether or not you want to make it difficult to do, those special attacks, that's up to you, right, Bacon? But
have you got your spells yet? Your first one, the lightning spell, yet?
Yeah. So here's the other thing, Jose. So you attack with X and Y, right? Then you hold RB to activate like a physical attack with X, Y, A, or B. So I think that's kind of why they keep the buttons to where, because you have to hold on RB. And then you select A, B, X, Y for your other secondary like special attacks, and it's all based on this meter. Like, and I didn't realize when it like fills up, then you can't move or deflect. I didn't understand that, and that's and then if you hold right trigger, same thing. That's for your magic powers, and then you press A, B, X, or Y while you're holding down right trigger. So that I kind of see why I tried to switch to right trigger and LB, like remapping my controller with, how you can with the Xbox app and everything, the accessories app. Yeah. And I liked it, but then I was like, I'm just going to stick with it. So I am playing it with the traditional controls. And at the beginning, you're just going through this little town and you're like, oh, this is too bad. The guys aren't too hard. And then you get to the boss. And then the boss is like, you're like, oh, and I beat him, at the first phase. Didn't know it was the first phase. I was like, oh, I got this. I got the first boss. It's easy. There's already a second phase on the first boss. I was like, are you kidding me?
No.
Way too early for that, right, Bacon? Like, I was like, are you kidding? And he gets hard. And like the attacks are way like bigger. I've learned that we're supposed to back off, Bacon, and you with the bosses, and I'm learning with the harder, more difficult enemies, Jose, is that everything's based on this dodge and building up that stagger meter. And I hear that's like Sekiro as well. So basically you have to you'll be hacking and slashing with your normal attack, right? And that will take small little bits of his health, right? And then you need to time the dodge, the deflection. Once you get that and then do a heavy attack, then you'll take a chunk away.
Yeah.
Right? But that adds to the stagger meter. You basically have to fill this enemy's stagger meter, and then you can do the big attack, and then that's when you'll actually get some damage. So it's like you've got 2 meters basically you have to be paying attention to defeat these bosses, and it can be frustrating to go after them, especially this first boss, because I've read a lot of people saying like, yeah, this first boss is pretty dang hard right off the bat. Like a lot of people are saying the first one, then there's one in the middle, and then like after that, like weird difficulty spikes. I heard that. Shout out to the Kind of Funny Xcast. They were all saying how like, wow, this first boss sucked, and then there's one in the middle that's just cancer. Apparently, that's just one of the worst ever. And then you get towards the end and whatnot. So it's really about. There's a lot of cool things like with the leveling and stuff, but it really is about filling up different meters. It is completely different. Like I can tell you straight up, I literally went from playing Elden Ring to this, and they are not the same in a lot of ways. So Bacon, let me hear your thoughts on it. Also played on PC. It was not working on 4K, dropped it to 1440. It's not optimized. I might just play it back on Xbox, Bacon. I'll be perfectly honest. But cool thing is everything transfers in between PC, like all my achievements, saves, everything. This is one of the games on Xbox where you can play it wherever, and it's going to transfer everything between everything. So that is very cool.
It the companion, does he tell you to get behind him and heal so you don't take any damage, and then
but like
covers half the map and hits me? I'm just like,
yeah, exactly. And you get like 3 things and it barely does any health. Like you'll get hit twice. You'll get hit twice, Jose, and your health will be basically gone. And it's like you only get 3 vials. I don't know. I'm assuming you get to have more somehow, but like it's not enough on this first boss. The
good news is when we clear him, we can then play in co-op for the entirety of the rest of the game. But yes, I've heard from everyone that's played this that first boss is maybe the hardest thing you'll do, and then it opens up and they get easier, and then you can play in co-op. One of my big gripes of the game is the voice acting. It is just so awful, almost to the point of I might tonight turn it back into Chinese and just read the subtitles, but the voice acting is actually laughable, and I don't know if that was intentional. It almost feels like there was no effort put in. It was just someone sitting in a booth reading like we are right now, but maybe even worse. It's pretty bad. I like the world. I'm starting to like the combat, and I do get the complaint with the controls and having to know to hit bumper and then up and then Y and then switching weapons, hold the right bumper, then circle, and then up and down on your D-pad to switch.
I didn't even know that, Bacon.
Right.
Like, I had 2 guys. I had 2 of them. I'm like, where's my other? I don't even know. Like you have 2.
A long one on the spear. Yeah, I couldn't get
no idea. What you just told me, I had no idea how to. I was just been using my sword the whole time.
So you haven't been able to switch, because that one's a heavy weapon and it does some pretty good damage. Hold right bumper and then O or circle. No, B. Right bumper and B, circle. And then up or down. Yeah.
Are you on PlayStation right now, Bacon?
To switch your weapon, you can use that spear with the blade on it. Yes, your companion's pretty bad, and he doesn't do any damage. He talks.
Yeah, doesn't do anything.
Like 7 hit points here, 7 there, and you're expecting him to like distract the boss while you can get away and heal, because this dude can jump and cover half that arena in one jump, and then smash you with this club. You're just like, and I didn't even know there was a phase 2. I had him last night down to like 1 sliver of health, and I died, and I lost my mind. And now that I'm hearing there's another phase with no more heals.
Bacon, the first phase isn't even the bad part. Like the second phase is the bad part.
So cool. I know what I have ahead of me tonight, but I'm definitely gonna play. I'm liking it more than I liked Atomic Heart to start. And I don't know if it was that, making me nauseous. And I'm sure Atomic Heart's been fixed, and I do need to get back into that.
Yeah, that's where I'm struggling. Is like, do I want to keep going with this? Probably. But I do still want to play Atomic Heart. But what's surprising to me, Bacon, before I throw it to Jose, it's like how like people are like, oh, this is a more accessible, easier Elden Ring. I'm like, is it? Like this first part sucks, but maybe once you get past that,
I died 13 times to that boss last night.
Yeah, I died a bunch.
Turned it off. I'm like, nope, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing, Bacon?
I finished my hard run on Ori. I did all that to get 4 achievements. I still haven't gotten them all for the game. Absolutely love that game. I'm glad I got it done on hard. It was one of my favorite.
That's an achievement, man.
I think I died 167 times, so I was nowhere near that 1,000 out of 1,000 achievement, but absolutely love that. And then surprisingly, I finished Wolfenstein, and I didn't even feel Wolfenstein 2. I didn't feel like it was the ending. The game just ended.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I killed a big, massive boss, or I killed that last huge mech, which took 2 or 3 tries. And then My wife is naked, pregnant, and bloody, and I'm just like,
twins.
what am I watching?
Yep.
And then the game just ended with the final kill of the big.
Did you play both of them, Bacon?
I played the first and the second one.
Yeah,
now I'm gonna play
which one did you like
Days.
more? Because I'm more of a 1 fan. I actually was kind of disappointed with the second one. I bought like the DLC and was so excited for the second one, and I was like, I like some of the story parts of it. I don't want to spoil the planet you go to and all that. Like that was really cool, but like at the end, I was like, this just didn't hit for me as much as 1 did.
Yeah, being forced to make the decisions to save Fergus or the other gentleman, and early in 1. I think 1 just had more shock value for me because I didn't know what to expect going into it, and I was just like, this game is really, really good. And I absolutely loved 2 also, but there was
2 just got wacky. I felt
right
like
a lot. Yes, bombastic. Like it was just the house that your dad's house was being picked up and you're being floated away. And I will say the end credits and the music and the imagery on the end credits of 2 maybe top 5 favorite gaming moments of all time. I love the music, the imagery. It was just fantastic. I'm trying to decide if I want to go and clear out all the rest of those missions of the people on the board, all the high value targets or not, or just move on to the old days and get that game played. So yeah, I'll probably play Wulong and then make that decision later.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna stick with Wulong.
If anyone hasn't played Ori, they've got to play Ori.
Oh, Ori's fantastic. One of the best. One of the best. Probably top 10 game for me. Just want to do a live shout out to Evelyn VTuber for following us on Twitter and maybe stop by in the show. So shout out. Jose, what have you? Oh, Hogwarts. That's right. So what's off on another adventure?
Yes. I would really like it. So you know what? Last time we chatted and I was like, there's no way I'm doing all those Merlin trials. I think I have like 2 left. I actually checked my true achievements today because I hadn't played in a day or so and give it time to update. And like, I'm not anywhere near 1,000 out of 1,000. I think I'm at like 340 or something like that. But I really wasn't going for all the trophies, and I'm actually close that I think I'm going to pick up a couple on accident as we finish the game because I'm completing some stuff. But I have really enjoyed it, man. Truly, like I really still maintain it would be a fun game. If you're not into the lore, I don't know if you'd be into it as much, or if you haven't read the books and stuff or seen the movies. But I still really enjoyed it a lot. As soon as I finish it, I'm going to try to pick up Wulong. And man, it's crazy to me is like there's just a lot of things I want to do right now. Like I want to play Wulong. I'm excited to play the new Destiny when it comes out. I want to play a new Battlefield, not Destiny, the Halo. That's what I meant to say. It was Halo, not Destiny. Battlefield, and then like TV wise, I know Dane's not a big Ted Lasso guy, but that's March 15th, so I'm pumped for that. Then we have like the end of March is just going to be insane, and then somewhere in there we're getting the Starfield.
We don't know. Like that's what's freaking me out right now.
I know, man.
Starfield. The potential is when is this game coming? They're running out of time. They're literally running out of time for their own deadline. So at this point, I would almost rather they delay it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Put it out in August, where there's hopefully nothing.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think that they're going to catch a ton of flack from.
No, you put out the game when it's ready, and if it's a banger slanger, nobody's gonna remember that it was delayed.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, but you got Forza and Hellblade also, so I don't know if you can go to the end of the year.
You're assuming Hellblade, like
that's what I heard today.
We don't know if
probably Hellblade.
So we don't know that, but guys, let's jump into what have we been watching, or should we just title this "Last of Us" episode 7 discussion?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll be upfront with you guys. This was the first time that I just watched this episode on my phone. I didn't even have care or want to watch it on my OLED because one, I knew it was going to happen because I played this DLC when it came out. I might have even played it on. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I only played on the PS4 remastered before the remake. And 2, I thought the DLC was boring then. And I knew that this episode was going to be boring again. And then 3, I feel like every episode, probably since 5, has just been the quality of the show. And even Colin and Dagan and all the guys on Sacred Symbols were kind of in agreement. Like this, it's not been doing much for me. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Keep in mind, Jose, that this DLC came out a full year after I think the original game came out. But again, I knew what had happened, so I was like, you basically spoilers for the DLC, spoilers for the show, game, whatever. The DLC, you you're basically just walking around the whole time and doing stuff. Like there's like barely any combat in the DLC. So you're literally watching it like you're watching the show. So Jose, let's go to you. What did you think of episode 7, the mall and Ellie's origin story, I guess?
Well, so here's the thing. So for those that don't know, what up, Cordy Morgs? Good to see you, buddy. Is that I have not played the games. I still will play them. Like, I know Dan's upset that I haven't watching the show and I haven't played.
I'm really upset at Bacon. He should be done with this already. The show's gonna end, and he's gonna. Cordy Morgs is here.
Yeah, he's in the chat right now. Shout out,
Cordy.
buddy.
By the way, I just talked about your comments about Wo Long. Right in the chat, what you thought. Just literally just wrote what we were talking about.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't love the episode as much as the others. Right. I'll be very straight up there. But I didn't hate the episode. I thought it was very interesting. And I guess where I was confused, because again, I hadn't played the games, was I couldn't tell at first if this was before where we were at in the story or after we were at in the story. Like, because the way they're setting it up, it could have been that like Joel is not with her anymore. I'm not going to say more about that. And that this is now in the future and she got found by this new camp and stuff. Like, it could have been that. It isn't that. That's very clearly what it wasn't at the end of the story. It was something in the past, and it also explains how they figured out and the scar on her arm and all that kind of stuff. So from that perspective, the storytelling perspective, I appreciated it. I love the tie-in with Mortal Kombat 2. I know that's like silly, but I thought that was a cool, nice touch to the whole thing. I think that it presented some gaps in the story that I was like, that's stupid in this. Like, so one example, and a tiny spoiler if you haven't seen it, is that she meets this friend who has been hiding out in the mall on behalf of the Fireflies and clearly has been holed up there for a while. And yet there's just this freaking guy clicker that's been against the wall that I guess has not been a concern, or she hasn't found him. And I guess what is crazy to me is like, why
not a clicker?
Why would you absolutely not go search around you and make sure that you're 100% safe if you're just gonna like sleep there? You know what I'm saying? Like, that seemed a little bizarre to me, but again, small piece of the story. I mean, I get what they're doing in terms of building the humanity, and I don't know if this was a huge spoiler for people, because I know one of the big spoilers at the end of the game is that you find out that Ellie is attracted to the same sex, right? And that was like a big thing in the game. And so I don't know if people saw that in the episode and were like, oh my God, and like all this stir. I knew that was coming.
She's gay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my God. So that didn't bother me at all. I was excited to see it. I'm glad, again, I think that representation is important in our story. So like, I just thought it was cool, but I haven't also
probably
seen
more
a lot
shocking
of
back when the game actually came out, like,
yeah, I think, and that makes sense too. But yeah. I also think about, like, I was expecting to see more of that, like on Twitter and everything like that. And I really didn't, like, because compared to think about like episode 3 and some of the other things we've seen, like where Twitter was literally on
why,
fire.
Jose? I think why? Because I think you could play the game and not even realize that when you meet Bill, because you have to kind of go into the lore, you have to read the things, some right? Things exactly, and otherwise you probably wouldn't even know that about Bill. Whereas with Ellie, like, that's a huge part of the first game with this, and then especially they take it a step further and for part 2. But so yeah, go ahead.
So ultimately, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think. So the way that, if this is a true HBO show, right, the way that they structure them, the seasons, is that if this is a 9-episode season, it's probably really interesting in the beginning, and then it ramps up, and then it kind of coasts for a while, and then there's usually something really big in this second to last episode of the season, and then the last one is cleanup. So that would, if by that reasoning, that this next episode is going to be pretty big and some stuff that happens, and then they'll kind of clean up and set up for season 2, because they've already said that they're going to do that. They're going to film it. They should, obviously. So excited to see about that piece. Bacon, what do you think, man?
Well, Bacon, I have to say right away, is not allowed to watch this because he needs to finish the dang game. Because you guys, I have to say, before Bacon goes, it kind of sucks right now because I know it's coming, and these are like big things. And so I'm just wondering, like, is it going to have the effect? Like, well, what really stood out to me was the Bill episode, because they that wasn't in the game. Like, that was all new, and that was cool to see some of that backstory. But the stuff like this, where I know what's coming, I'm like, I've seen this before multiple times. So sorry, Bacon. I'm just, at this point, I give up. You're probably not going to beat the game before it comes out, and that's fine. I just would have appreciated having another voice on the show who has played the game to compare it to. And shout out, Jose, I wanted to tell you Askins wants to come on the show and talk to us about this. And that's going to be coming from somebody who doesn't play any video games now.
Hey, look, there's some people want to ride too. Pick them up.
Absolutely. So, by the way, sorry, Bacon, interrupt one more time. Cordy Morgs did write in the chat, and he wants to go back to Wolong. I was telling Dan that the Wolong controls are really wonky and the story cutscenes are not super interesting. Completely agree. This is a story. We're not going to care about this. Gameplay is definitely challenging but rewarding. I am fighting the General of Heaven now and getting my cheeks clapped. Live update from Cordy Morgs. Shout out to Cordy Morgs. Would love to have you on the show and tell us your review of this, because you might be the only one who
100%.
beats this, Cordy. I don't know if I'm tied into it right now. So go ahead, Bacon. Back to the
So,
Last of Us part
The
7.
one thing this episode has done for me, I've looked at it a few times when I log into The Last of Us, is do I want to play the Left Behind DLC? And I'm like, I don't know, do I?
You
But
watched
this episode has now confirmed that I do in fact not want to play the Left Behind DLC. It was kind of cool to see Ellie and her almost attachment to Fedra, and how that is.
That was
the
a
way
nice
it
touch.
has. Because starting, we all just figured she hated Fedra and was Firefly, and but to see that she was attached or enjoying her time, or not, maybe not enjoying her time, but was basically being indoctrinated into
I have to say,
Fedra.
Bacon, that scene at the beginning was cool with the Kwong guy. That was not,
Right.
you didn't see that kind of backstory in the game. Like, that was complete. So, like, I liked what Colin and the crew over at Sacred Symbols were saying. Like, kind of shows like a more humanitarian side of Fedra. Like, maybe they're not as bad as everyone thinks.
Right.
Maybe, they are trying to do some good things. So, and Ellie sees that, like you said, Bacon. So go ahead.
Like, I thought the mall set or scene was really well done. Looked great. The lingerie window and that little dig and stuff like that. So it was nice to see Ellie in a softer side, or a little more exposed or vulnerable with her friend. What's her name again? I forget. I forget.
Yeah, I already forgot.
Yeah,
Riley?
to see,
Yeah,
Riley,
it's Riley.
maybe. Yeah, to see her more exposed, more vulnerable, more, not as hard as she's been with Joel, and is, just and witty and just mean. She's actually a human, and apparently a human in love. So it was nice to see that stuff. It was not a great episode. I don't remember my wife telling me anything that was like, that was a great episode. So she's usually the barometer for these things. And I'm like, oh, a really great episode, bad episode. But it almost felt like a filler episode. It absolutely wasn't needed to progress the story that we're currently watching with Joel. I mean, they could have spent the time focusing on her healing Joel, or her scavenging for stuff to help him. They could have done a whole episode of that, as opposed to this Left Behind, but it did expose and show us Riley and stuff. So I guess it has its place. So a rather forgettable episode, and it did help me decide not to play that DLC. So
I don't think you'll miss anything by not playing it. I think the show showed exactly what you would have been playing, was just them interacting and seeing Ellie, with her crush and everything like that, and the origins. So I will say, like, again, the spoiler cast I listened to over on Sacred Symbols, there were a little bit of concerns about these last 2 episodes because a lot's going to happen. But like, tying into what Jose said, you're right. Typical kind of HBO fashion, that second to last all episodes is usually crazy. But I'm almost at the point where, like, to me, they almost could have made this 2 seasons, this first game. Absolutely. I think they definitely could have, but they're probably going for that one to make sure you get kind of some of the shock value of like what's happening and what's going to happen. So overall, again, I'm enjoying it, but the more I've watched the show, guys, I'm not gonna lie, the more it makes me appreciate the game more. I still think the game did it better because you are able to interact as these characters, the Joel and Ellie. You definitely see more of a connection there. And then me and Bacon have agreed that gameplay has never been Naughty Dog's strongest point, but their storytelling has always been excellent. So back then in 2013, I didn't think it was the best playing game, but I do think it was a great story. So I'm very interested. Hopefully we'll get Askins on here to talk about it. Cause again, like I said, he played video games growing up and played Madden through college, but that's about it. But he played Resident Evil with me, he played Metal Gear, but he hasn't been playing games for a long time. And so it's interesting to see his perspective. He asked actually, cause he's tuned in a couple of times to our podcast, and he actually asked saying he wants to be on because it would be cool to see, like I said, his perspective as a non-gamer on the show from a video game. So, guys, that has been.
You want to catch Deja Vu's chat that just popped up?
Oh, Deja Vu. Is he back? What did Deja Vu say?
He said he's also enjoying The Last of Us, but he does hope it picks up with something. Fully agree, man. Like that's what
has Deja Vu played it, Bacon, or no?
He hasn't played it.
Okay. So another interesting perspective to hear would be to hear his with but
it is coming to PC next month, and I would hope
we
would get it.
I would
PC, so.
Definitely play it Deja Vu. I mean, you'll have a different perspective right there too, because you'll be able to compare the show to the game. Guys, let's close the show like we always do with the best food we had this week. Jose, why don't we start with you this week?
Yeah, I will happily start. But before we do that, I have a special surprise that I was saving. That I came home yesterday after going to our play at school. And wonderful play, by the way. They did Chicago. Super shout out to Kella and all of our kids. It was really, really cool. But I got home and I was like, Victoria was basically already asleep and the kids were asleep. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go play some Hogwarts Legacy. And sure enough, my ring went off, like my front door thing. And I was like, who's at my front door? Like 9:30 at night. Well, it was a delivery person. And so this is what came in last night.
Oh, there it is, boys.
For those that are on the podcast, this is my Dead Space Collector's Edition that I ordered in like October. And what's crazy is I didn't get any
updates, just like my jacket.
I got no shipping
no
things.
idea.
I got no it's fulfilled. I just got the email that was confirmed way back then, and I've been like waiting. And I was like, okay, I can be patient when I knew it wasn't going to release. And so when I saw this, I literally thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, buddy. I literally ran downstairs and I was like a little kid and I wanted to open it so bad, but I promised I was going to do an unboxing video and I did. So as soon as this episode drops, it's recorded. Dude. I'm going to get that on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
So if you want to see the full unboxing, we got the helmet, which is super sick. It does light up.
Does it fit, Jose? Does it fit that big old noggin?
I'll put it on right now. I got to take my headphones off, so you're going to have to narrate for the crowd, but here we go.
Dan, then we can talk him into getting rid of the Court of Owls one and put that one in its place.
Oh, here! Oh, my, look at those lights! Wow. Oh, dude, is that Isaac right now? What is going on? Fresh. Where is your what is it called? The laser cutter? What is the weapon called?
The plasma cutter.
Plasma cutter, yeah. Jose, where's the plasma cutter? You got to get one. I got the needler with the chief back there.
I know. I got to get a plasma cutter now, dude. It's so sick. So it's good. You can see it lit up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can see.
That's so fresh.
Good. And it also just real quick, you can see the full video on the channel, but. The marker that it came with, this thing is really, really heavy. I don't know if you can see that really well.
Bacon has no idea what that is, so don't worry about it, Bacon.
Oh, man, so good, though. But it came with, posters. It came with a pin.
Nice.
It came with, this is just for Pony. I might have to give him to this for Christmas. It's a CD. Literally a CD of the Dead Space soundtrack. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I don't even know if I can rip it anywhere to, audio.
You have to buy an optical drive.
I have to buy an optical drive just so I could rip this bad boy. But it was really cool. And also... I have a big steelbook, dude, but it came with the
steelbook is sick, dude. I love the steelbooks. Look back there, Jose. You got to put them in the background, man.
Well, and it's empty. It didn't even come with the game because I got the game in the mail through Amazon.
That's how they do it now.
It's gonna go back there with the helmet once I get the stand for it ready.
You got to get a plasma cutter, Jose.
Of course, I gotta buy some new shirts.
You got to get it, and you got to get a suit because that's gonna be your Halloween costume from. What's the ship called? The Ishimura,
baby, right there.
Ishimura,
it's the Planet Cracker Starship Ishimura. Patch that came with it, dude. It was, I literally was giddy.
They did a great job. Jose, what you're describing is kind of very similar. I just realized that the EA knows how to do it because that's how the Legendary Edition helmet was. I got a patch, I got the poster, I got very similar, and I got a soundtrack that wasn't on CD, unfortunately. I got the collector's steelbook. Shout out to EA. They do a good job, huh?
Oh man, you're right. I'm gonna have to build a costume, bud. I'm literally gonna have to build a standby costume to wear.
That is so cool because look, Jose, look. This is also from EA too.
I know
they know how to do it.
It looks real good, dude. So shout out to EA. Shout out to Limited Run Games. If they ever see this, man, you guys know how to put together a sweet thing. Don't get me wrong; it was not cheap. But man, it was worth every freaking penny for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Guys, if you haven't hit it already, smash that subscribe button over on the YouTube pages. We're going to figure out the streaming too. Hopefully next week we will be streaming live on YouTube as well. This was just the trial run. Jose, you never told us what the best food you had.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So back to the question at hand. Best food I had this week, because I had to fit that in somewhere, and that's what you said. And I had to. So best food this week, just tonight we had Firehouse subs. Victoria, as she wasn't feeling super well, and so the girls wanted noodles. She's like, "Can we go to Firehouse?" I was like, "Yes, we can." Delightful, man. And I need to try more of their sandwiches because I love the ones that I've got, but I just keep going back to the same ones that I get. The turkey bacon ranch or whatever that I got, so good. Also, we had Chinese food with my parents on Sunday, and there's this really small place nearby us where they have this thing called jalapeno chicken. It's like a sesame chicken, but it's really, really spicy because it's cooked with jalapenos. It was delightful. And today, it was Friday, I had to go to a meeting for the district, and I stopped by McDonald's on the way. I got myself a McGriddle. I have not had a McGriddle in so long, but just the sauce and McGriddle.
Oh my God.
Delightful, buddy.
Choice.
Dude,
and
sweet and salty.
I put it in the chat, like our actual friend chat. On earlier this week, I had to go to another meeting.
Yes, you better.
I had to go through Green Mountain, and good Dan, he got me. He's been talking about it for weeks about all these burritos that he's eating, and I had to stop by Burrito Express and got myself the bacon burrito. I did not get without potatoes. I like the potatoes.
Yeah, I know you like them. But
fine. I will tell you, for those that are listening, Dan is a madman. Literally a madman. I ate that one burrito, and I don't think I needed to eat for the rest of the day. This boy's eaten 3 in a day.
2 standard.
You said you got 3 last time.
1 for Allie.
Oh my God, 2 standard. But I don't know how you do it, but how are you not dead?
Here's the thing. You got to remember, I don't got the potatoes in there. So it's just eggs and some bacon and cheese. So it's less filling. So
yeah, I guess. But man, anyway, it was delightful. If you're ever in Green Mountain area, check out Burrito Express. It is absolutely worth your time. That is the best food I had this week.
I will go next. The best food I had this week. We shout out this previous weekend, Allie's brother, Lieutenant Dan. Shout out to Lieutenant Dan. He's played with us. Paul. We went and got takeout from what's that Italian restaurant? Cafe Giordano. Is that it?
Yep, Cafe Giordano by Bear
Cafe
Creek.
Giordano. Delicious. I had the shrimp Alfredo. Allie and all the kids got the gnocchi. Is it gnocchi or gnocchi? Or
it's gnocchi. Gnocchi.
It was delicious. But the best food I had this week, got to give a shout out to Allie. She cooked a pork tenderloin tonight. She did some weird seasoning on this bad boy with a bunch of paprika and some other stuff. It was delicious. I'm still thinking about it. I wish we had more right now. Allie didn't like it. So it makes me very sad because that means she'll never make it again. But me, on the other hand, and the kids, we all enjoyed it. So shout out to Allie. That was the best food I had this week. Bacon, what about you?
Well, I got back from work today running a little late, and one of our coworkers' position has been eliminated. So they had some Domino's there for him. It was about 5.5, 6 hours old, and I took a slice of that, and it was not good. And I was running late getting home for the podcast, so I grabbed a double quarter pounder with cheese with no pickles or onions, and a large fry, and that's about it. But tomorrow night, John Jones fights. I'm super stoked to see a UFC fight for the first time in a really long time. So we're gonna have some pizza and some wings at a friend's house. So super stoked.
Nice, man.
The fights.
Gentlemen, this has been the Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast, episode 96, our first live stream. Hopefully next week we'll figure it all out, but I have to say, pretty happy with how this went tonight. Very exciting. You can follow the show at the Nerd Chat across all social media. You can follow us on Twitch at the Nerd Chat Podcast. You can write into the Nerd Chat Podcast at gmail.com. You can follow me at Daddy D Wally across social media. Chipotlebear, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Chipotle_bear. You can find me on Instagram at Chipotlebear. And as soon as I get this Twitch thing figured out and I will get my channel back, you can find me on Twitch at Chipotlebear as well. But thank you for everyone that joined us this week. Cordy Morgs, Deja Vu, and
shout out Cordy.
It's really awesome having the chat and having the interaction and stuff like that. We're excited to keep that going. So shout out to everybody and thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bacon, where can people find you?
You can find me X Bacon Gaming, spelled like this. I don't know if you can see
yeah.
it. The delay. There it is. On all your socials, YouTube, everywhere. Again, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch. We really do appreciate. Give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing, and we do appreciate your time.
Yeah, check out the channel, you guys. It is popping off lately. Jose, I also got a shout out right now. I just realized you even got the correct font in here and how I write my name for Daddy Cow Caps Diwali. Man, where would the podcast be without Chipotlebear? Probably long dead. As always, gentlemen, see you online.
See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Hey, what is going on here, huh? Oh, I was just looking for the other half of this bottle, and there's some of it right there's some right there too.
Well, why don't you just put it down?
Yeah, I know. Just stay out of my way. You'll pay. Listen to what I say. How about I just go eat some hay? I can make things out of clay and lay by the bay. I just may. What do you say?
The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast, is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. The show was created by Daniel Walenzik, and you can follow him at Daddy Diwali across all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. The intern to the assistant to the co-hosts is Jason Jarrett, and you can follow him at XBaconGaming. You can also follow the show at The Nerd Chat across all social media. And if you'd like to find out more about the show, visit nerdchatmedia.com.